Let's do that real quick and then
check it out.
Check.
Alright, so everybody get your spots.
This is that kind of show, man, ladies and gentlemen. We got Chris Ross over here, in spite of Chris Ross.
Check.
We have gotten it started. He's knocking every single mic over. Every mic. Chris Ross.
Okay.
the most important shit.
Can y'all hear us?
We got
Give a thumbs up.
Yo, this is Chris Ross. Come on live.
K141.
From Times Square. Come on.
Alright, Chris, are you recording?
Yes, I am.
Alright, I'm gonna go and start. So check it out, Peter. It's gonna be about a 20-second lead in. You'll hear the theme music and then we can start chatting.
Yeah, we're coming live from Times Square.
Weenie in the Butt Radio. Weenie in the Butt, Bus Guy. In the morning. Radio.
You already sweating, Chris. It was the video, I know.
I was cold when
Alright, we're going.
Let's do it.
Let's hear it.
Who's gonna, hey, who's gonna start something?
Unless you want to.
No, you did. I did it last time. Welcome to Been Around the Block, episode 14. Welcome to our live guys. We have Peter, how do you say your last name?
Bujnowski.
That's why I didn't say it, because I don't know.
Peter Bujnowski.
It's fucking loud.
I can't hear it in my headphones at all.
Yeah.
Good?
It's only gonna be on one side. It's being weird. Yeah.
I can't even hear it on one side.
Let's go in. Let's go in.
It's lasting longer than I thought.
Can you hear me through the mic? This mic?
Oh, yeah, song.
Speak up though.
What's up?
Yeah.
Mic check.
Yeah, you should be good. We checked everybody's mic.
Okay.
Everybody's checked.
These headphones don't work though. Let me know.
Welcome to Been Around the Block. My name is Brooks Southern, and this is episode 14. So, and I'm going to go around and introduce my host and let our guests introduce themselves.
Bradley Nemo Sparks.
And I'm Chris Ross.
And I'm Peter Bujnowski.
Yeah.
Bujnowski. Well, it's great to have you on here, man. We're really glad that you were able to come up here and be a part of this and tell your story a little bit. So,
Yeah, dude, I'm really glad to be here. Great day in Oklahoma City. You can see everything from here, man. I mean, this is a great little spot. Get to hang out. We got our sodas. We got some cake pops I brought in, man. So it's going to be a good time.
The cake pops. Now, tell us why you brought cake pops.
Man, I'm the cake guy at home. You know, I try not to let it define me, being the cake guy, but I do tend to have a lot of actual cake at my home. So, I mean, I do it every weekend, so I figure why not, you know, make some cake pops, bring it to the host, bring it to the guys. Let's eat something sweet. That kind of shows you a little bit of my flair, and then you guys get a little bit of a sweet treat at the end, and it's like self-promotion, because I know you're going to love it.
I'm a diabetic.
Yeah, the birthday cake flavor, got the white chocolate. Yeah, it's got the imposter chocolate on it, so it's not that bad. That white chocolate on the outside, some wedding cake in there. It's great.
So you make cakes for a living, right?
Yeah. So me and my mom.
Shout out to
Yeah. So Gourmet Sweets by Maggie and Peter, Oklahoma City, Northwest Side, Surrey Hills. If you're a little closer to that area, but yeah. I mean, we have Facebook, Instagram. You can get on there. We make some like is it cake style cakes with emphasis on great taste and clean work. So if you're looking for that, man, let us know. Weddings, all that stuff.
So I always think of cake or fake every time I see your house.
Yeah.
It's fucking, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
Every single time.
I love that. And you get to learn and like, you know, people want different stuff, you know, 2020, people wanted like Clorox bottles and stuff. And then it's just kind of evolved from there, you know, and I do a lot of character stuff, whatever pop culture thing is popular at the time. I did an AA big book recently as well. That was really realistic. You can check it out on the page. Yeah, it's great, man. I like doing it. It's something I got away from early on before I got into like my own problems, but to come back to it like a fresh perspective, it's great. I mean, it's like something I didn't lose, and I still get to like, you know, evolve it and work on myself at the same time.
So you did that before you got sober?
Yeah. Before I got sober, I let this cake thing. Looking back on the pictures now, man, I mean, they were just they're basic, you know, they may be all right or whatever, dude, but I thought we were the best thing ever. And like, I literally complete jealousy for everyone else and like looking down on everyone and I'm the best, why haven't I gotten my shot or whatever. In my case, we're just okay. But I let it define me. I went around, I like that publicity, and like that fame, and I let that kind of get to me, and that was not important in cake whatsoever, and I actually lost clientele by just being an ass. So, you know, like to come back and kind of clean up and people giving me a shot, and I've had people who have been buying from me for a long time, and they get to kind of see the new stuff as well, so very cool. I like doing that.
So what is the weirdest cake you've ever made?
I don't get very many questions like this. I think about this doesn't happen that often. But the weirdest, I mean, there's like big sizes. I mean, I did a brain that was like a realistic, like bloody looking brain, like, and it didn't have any insignia on it. It was just a brain on a board. That was pretty cool. I've done like a cheese block with like mice on it. Yeah, that was actually for a medical student. And I did actually just this past weekend have something really weird where a person, I asked them to show me what they want. They drew me up a picture with pencil, what they wanted of the cake, and I made that exact thing. And it did not look great, but it looked exactly like what the customer wanted. I'll never be able to post that on my personal page. You heard that here first. That idea was awful. I hated doing it the entire time, but it looks exact. Shout out to that person. Let the cake look, it tastes great, looks all right. It's just a little messy. It looks like someone drew it on a piece of paper and you made it. So, but yeah, I mean, that's the kind of stuff I get into now as opposed to stuff back in the day.
So, what kind of cake stuff do you have coming out?
Man, I've been doing a wedding pretty much every weekend. It feels like I get married every weekend. My wife at Soiree weddings and events. She does a wedding event almost every weekend. I do a wedding cake if she's not doing that. So this weekend, I've got a wedding on Thursday and Friday. And then the next weekend, I have a realistic Corvette cake that they want it to look like a real Corvette. And I've done a Jeep and stuff like that. So that's going to be really cool. Keeps me busy, for sure.
Shout out to Gourmet Sweets, right?
Yes, sir. Check it out on Facebook.
Yes.
Sorry, technical. Chris was telling me, I take care of the audio, he takes care of the video.
Yeah, Chris is just being technically a douchebag right now.
And this is only our third time to go live on Facebook. Our first time was a total bomb with the audio.
Mm-hmm.
And
I saw that.
I'm glad people let us know.
Well, it's super cool. I think you guys texted me too, man, we can hear you.
Yeah.
So it's really good. Thanks for that. Good working out. So, cakes, would you consider that part of your recovery?
Cakes are part of my recovery for sure. I let it go for a long time, and recovery has allowed me to see that it's a talent and something that I'm lucky to have, and so I can actually, you know, be grateful for that. Whereas beforehand, I thought that skill that I had was something that earned, you know, people, I don't know, like looking up to me or whatever, being cool. You know, I cared way too much about what people think about me. I mean, that's going to be a constant battle my whole life, and I don't know if anyone relates to it. I think you do, but I mean, I'm constantly worried, like, what this guy's going to think. This person doesn't even think about me outside of this aspect. So the cakes, I can be grateful, man, dude, I'm good at this. Let me not squander this like I was doing it earlier, for sure. Yeah, I like that. I like where we're going on the cake stuff. Was not expecting this when I got the invite, but dude, I love it.
So my question, what did you anticipate happening? I know you kind of texted me earlier, was asking me.
Yeah.
What, how, like, the sign roles, tell me how this was gonna go.
Okay, so I was gonna come on here. You were gonna like just ask me like one question. I'll just go off on one, man. But dude, I like being like fluid and like talking and stuff. You know, with your perspective. It's not just about me. Old me would have been like, all right, this is my show. Welcome Facebook Live. Let's talk about me and all the world shit that's fucking me over and check this shit out. And that's not what it's about, man. And it is kind of about that because it is my recovery and we deal with these emotions every day. But that doesn't mean that I have to be defined with like, like I wore the stupid chain, it makes no sense.
I love it.
I wore the chain because it was something when I got out of rehab and I
I've
was,
had that since I've been.
Brooks saw, man, we went to like a escape room, dude, and it was like, I had to meet a bunch of people and I was just like, I had a horrible haircut from a guy in the rehab. It was awful. Like shaved my entire head, dude. It was the worst. And I was bloated and fat from rehab food, man. So I was like overweight. I was just real bad. And so I brought the chain out with me, man, and it got a bunch of laughs and stuff, and it just kind of reminded me not to take myself so seriously.
What's that called? Rule 62.
Rule 62.
Do not take yourself so seriously.
Yeah, according to
one program.
a program, for sure.
So how long do you have sober?
I have 2 years and 10 months and 5 days-ish, so 2 years, 10 months plus. So getting up to 3 years, I'm in between year 2 and 3, my terrible twos, for sure. I don't know if you guys do you have terrible
I'm
twos?
dealing with that right now.
I sure did.
Terrible twos, yeah. You get an emo, man, like, you've been sober for a while, like, you've been like, since I got into the program, you were like 4 or 5 years sober, so it's like, I don't know, we're now hitting that point where you were, looking back. How was your year 2?
My year 2, honestly, I was still locked up at the halfway house, but you gotta understand where I was at. It's nothing but temptation. I walk into my room at the halfway house and everybody's smoking meth or shooting up or doing whatever, and it's not like I can just leave.
Yeah.
I gotta be there for count.
So is this like halfway house prison or like?
Prison, yes.
Okay.
Yes, halfway house prison. But so I got out when I was 2.5 years sober, but it was about after year 3 is when I started getting really tested.
Yeah.
Chris, same thing on me. Whenever I was on, you met me right after my year 2.
Yeah, I thought that was you coming back to the program for the first time. I was like, these people know this guy? He's got like 3 months, man.
Yeah, man. 2, it was really hard for me. It was when I was sober for 2 years, but I started recovery in my second year.
Yeah.
So that really helped. It brought a lot out of me, but I was still going through the motions. I felt like I was plateauing. So we went to go do something, and I talked to a few people, and they put a new spark underneath me, man, pushed me to the next level.
There is a difference between being sober and being recovered. And
Or in recovery, even.
Yeah.
I mean, because I've had people, man, like us, we're in recovery. Like, we're in rooms of local places that, because we need help. We're the type of people that need this for the rest of our life. I have people at like my work, man, who are like, oh, I'm in recovery, but I just smoke weed and I drink at Christmas. Like, that's not in recovery. That's like, maybe you never had that problem, because I could never do that. My problem is I take one little sip, man, and that switch gets turned on and I just can't stop. I mean, that's literally as simple as I can explain it. The switch is turned. I come in, we have one drink here and people laugh, ha ha ha, and then we go home, man, and I can't stop thinking about it. The switch has been turned on and I can't stop, dude. And now, like, I have a little bit of time, like I can't take that first drink, and it gets easier from the beginning. I mean, at first it was all like, don't drink, don't do drugs, don't do all this stuff. And then, like, after a while, I was like, all right, well, now, life is hard, and I'm not going straight to the liquor store, but now how do I deal with my problems? And that's kind of where, like, being in recovery is where you kind of get that growth. If you're just going back to work and you're like, all right, man, I don't need any of that stuff, like my coworkers and my friends and stuff who do that. Invariably, we go back out and drink, and every time we will go back out, and it's because we don't have that person in there. And sometimes they use us on like Facebook, and they see us as a sober one, and they're like liking our stuff, and sometimes they get a message from someone who's like, I need some help. But then, like, when I take them to show them, like my sponsor said, to show what I did, I can't make them do anything. And I may not be good at a lot of stuff. That's what I say, obviously. That's my self-talk. But I'm funny, goofy, whatever, but one thing I'm really good at is not drinking. I might not be good at as good as I think at a lot of stuff, but as far as not drinking goes, I'm pretty good at that. And I can show you how that works, you know. But people don't want to listen. It doesn't hurt bad enough. You don't have it as bad as I do. Bro, you got it.
Yeah.
You know, like you got it just like I do.
Everybody's got to determine their own, you know.
Yeah. Everyone's an alcoholic to me nowadays, man. I see like the symptoms in everyone. You know, like this guy's fucked up, dude. And I just, I mean, that just comes with some time, dude. You know, I got people sneaking drinks and stuff, and I can just sniff it up, dude. I never understood how people could just figure it out. I thought I was so slick and so smart, but man, you know, like we know.
Let's go into your story. Tell us how you did figure it out.
Sure, man. So I was born in Hamburg, Germany. Two Polish parents, Mel Rajada and Jerzy Bujnowski. Yeah,
We don't have a middle name.
and I have Peter, no middle name, Bujnowski or Bujnowski. Shout out Bujnowski crew in Poland somewhere. Okay, Hamburg, Germany, dude, I'm born there. My parents are escaping communism, sort of, and Poland's not a cool place to live in '86. In '84, '85, '86, they moved to Germany with a green card. They're getting a green card to go to America. In the meantime, I'm born Polish parents. You know, I don't remember any of that, obviously. We fly over when I'm 2. I like to think of it, man, they gave my parents a map, right? And it had any state, dude, California, Texas, New York, dude, these incredible areas, man. And they were like, you can move to any of these states where you want to go. And my parents just, boom, finger in the middle, Oklahoma. So we come to Oklahoma, man.
It's funny globe.
Yeah, they just like, this one sounds good. So we're moving, is it in America? Yes, okay, right in the middle, baby. That way we don't miss anything, you know. It could have been Chicago with other Polish people, no, man. But we came here, in Edmond initially with some duplexes. Surprisingly, there was a lot of Polish families, so we kind of got into that. And they, you know, I had some Polish friends that were kind of my age, that were also being raised in America, which was pretty cool. A friend named Michał and Natalia, we all have Polish name, Piotr, that's me. Yeah, so, you know, my upbringing, you know, relatively fun, I would say pretty normal up until a point. And most of this, I can say in the story, you know, this isn't like some kind of speaker meeting where I'm like trying to pull on their heartstrings and stuff like that. I've actually learned a lesson from my life. So most of this is in hindsight, and I can kind of like bring this back and kind of tell you why on some of the things as it goes. So you'll hear me doing that. But you know, initially that first thing that happened to me, man, is we moved like in first grade, and then I was there for a few years, and I can remember the Oklahoma City bombing happening in second grade for me, and I was in a school locally, and I remember the building all shaking and stuff. Third grade we moved, and it had been like the third time. I probably skipped one in the beginning, but you know, it didn't really affect me yet. But then we moved again, and I moved to like my Oklahoma City area that we would stay for a while. And I just remember like early on thinking I don't fit in here, or nobody likes me. No one told me that. Nobody like pointed me out. I mean, they kind of did, because my name's Peter Bujnowski, no middle name, in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. My teachers were like, what is this guy about? And I remember early on always having a ton of energy. Destructive on the class, teacher, you know, fixing the teacher's mistakes on the board, outbursts of like jokes, man, like stand-up comedy. It's the same shit I do now, but teachers did not like that shit early on, man. They were not a big fan. They wanted the classroom run a certain way. So I kind of got in trouble a lot at school. My grades were pretty good, but I got in trouble for being disruptive, waste time, doesn't use time wisely. It was a popular one. But even early on, I was like in second grade, it was third grade, I had a little paper that I needed to send home. It was like a discipline form, and I like signed it while at the desk, and the teacher like found out. And it's like you look at it now, like a kid's signature is like so obvious. Like I had my mom's signature underneath it somehow, and like I was trying to sign. So I was already trying to hide it. I wasn't like particularly getting in trouble for that kind of stuff. So my parents, they raised me kind of like they would raise kids in Poland. I mean, they didn't really have any kind of judge of like how to raise their kids. My mom was kind of raised on like farm life. My dad was a little more modern.
What did they do for a living?
My mom went to like medical school, and she had some kind of degree in lab. I don't know, something like that. No, it's not quite like that. It was like something working in the labs and testing, and blood and transfusions and like centrifuges and stuff. And so she got a degree from that thing, OBI, Oklahoma Blood Institute. They hired her with that degree. So she like instantly went into that field. My dad, I don't know what he did before, but I know when we got here, he did welding. So he worked at another local place here that you can see the sign of, 2 letters. I don't know if I'm even allowed to say that place. What?
Shouldn't matter.
Okay, W&W Steel Company, right over here.
Right off the highway.
Yeah, right off the highway. My dad went there. He was a welder, and he started making money. I remember that. That was kind of like our way to like kind of get out. We moved on May in the May area. It's not great now. It wasn't great then, but now it's definitely not that great. Yeah, we moved here, and I was just kind of like my parents did their jobs, and that was like the most important thing. My mom worked overnight, so she slept like during the day, or she woke up like at 2 p.m. and then went to work at like 10 at night. So she caught me like after school. My dad worked early in the morning until like 5 p.m. And then he'd come home and he'd be like covered in oil and grease and be like exhausted and like split fingers and like, bruised nails and stuff like that, and he'd be tired. But one thing that did kind of stick with like what my dad did, the way that they raised us, is my dad beat me up a lot. I don't know if that's triggering for some people. I don't know. Like I don't think that's the things that he did were definitely not acceptable now. Probably weren't acceptable then. I was used to them, but it was like smacks in the back of the head and spankings. And my dad was also into boxing, so he did a lot of like put the gloves on him, and he would like make me box him for me long periods of time where I'd be tired, Dad, I don't want to do it, and he'd like fucking make me do it, and I'd be like crying about it. I'd be like, I'm gonna tell Mom, and fucking tell Mom, And he didn't like get like matches and shit, He just fucking beat me up, like just smacked me around like a rag doll a lot. If I mouthed off, if I talked back, if I did poorly in something. And really the first time that I had a soccer game, and I was a goalie in soccer, and the first time I had a game and we won 2-1, and it was a great game. I remember like vividly, my dad, the first thing he said is, how did I let that one goal go by? Like we won the game, but already he was implanting in me the need for perfection. And if I wasn't perfect, then it wasn't good enough for him. So that started early. And I didn't think that today was kind of a funny day. I did my 4th step with my sponsor. If you're into the steps, you tend to kind of cycle through these steps, and I've come up to my 4th step today, 4th and 5th step. And so I've got to look back specifically at these events today and how they affected me. And my sponsor says this affected me a lot. I act like it was like, oh no, my dad hit me, whatever. I went to school, but I probably have behavioral problems because of it. I definitely had problems like wanting to fit in and acceptance and wanting to be cool and not being good enough in my own house to my father. My mom gave me a lot of neutral positivity. Dad mostly negative, hey, fat sugar tits, you're overweight, that kind of fucking shit. Dude, it pissed me off, man. He made me feel so bad about it because that's how he knew to make me change. And my mom was more like, oh, that's good, very neutral. And the negative and the neutral together brought a negative attitude for me. And I was always looking like how to get attention at school, not purposefully, not like, how do I get attention from my teachers? I was just like fucking speaking out and like talking about shit. And like one kid said something about my mom, I smacked him in the nose. Like, and it was the 6th grade, I was just like, kind of like, not knowing how to deal with anything, and there's other kids and they're like with girlfriends and like getting shit, dude. I'm fucking like, I have no clue how anything works. My parents don't tell me anything. I always wish that they would tell me something like, hey, you're gonna go through school and you're gonna do these grades, and when you're done with these, you don't have to go to school. But if you want to do X, Y, and Z, you need to stay and go to college and do that. They never explained to me, and I don't think honestly they knew. what I'm supposed to do, because it was so different. I mean, my parents were foreign, we learned English here, and I learned English quicker than them. So they were making me order shit for them, like in McDonald's, I'd be in the line, my dad would just be like you can't speak at all, man, and I'm like, oh, yes, we like 2 cheeseburgers, like, dude, my dad's fucking right there, he can read the menu. But they get like self-conscious and stuff, like, oh, you order for us, and I don't know why we did that, but it just always made me feel like we're different. We're doing something different. I have this weird foreign family that's Polish, but I don't see that many Polish people. I see they exist, and we're regular white people, but I'm like so much weirder than everyone else. But it's kind of cool because I mean, there's people who moved here who are like 5 and 6 or 8, 10 Polish people that I know. They got the accent. If you get that accent in school, man, you the foreign kid in school, man. And I am not the foreign kid in school. I have a weird ass foreign name, but I was not foreign, dude. I am
understandable.
But I can, I'm gonna move to Polska.
Yeah, see, I remember hearing at your wedding, hearing that.
Yeah.
You were just like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, dude, we still speak Polish. My brother's kind of lost it. I still have it, and when I have and I can read it. I can't really write it. My mom has the same problem as me to this day. When you write something, I use my English alphabet. She uses her Polish alphabet first. Like that's her initial thing. So when she writes like difficult words in English, like they're slightly off, which is funny to me. But she's using like a Polish language, and that's the same way that I do it in that. But that Polish, I'm glad I kept it. They were really foreign growing up, and I knew eventually I'd find someone who was into the foreign guy. It's out there for you, foreign guy. Foreign guy living in America, it's out there for you. For the taking. Someone will like you, I promise. But the Polish stuff at school, man, I was a little weird in school. But I was funny. I mean, I was essentially the same kind of person I am now, where I'm just kind of like, high energy, offbeat, alternative, like funny, like everything's dry. I was kind of like that my whole life, but it wasn't really cool in the 90s and 2000s. People called me bougie, which didn't really, that wasn't a word at that point. So now it's like super cool to be bougie, but they called me bougie in high school, and it wasn't even like, it was just because they couldn't say my last name.
What school did you go to?
So first I went to school-wise, I went to Wiley Post Elementary, after middle school. Then I went to Putnam City North for 2 years. Then my parents got rich, as they say, and we moved to Yukon. We moved to Surrey Hills. And it was a weird flip there because at Putnam City North, it's jocks are the cool kids, and like preps and all this shit, and the money. And then in Yukon, like the smart kids were the cool kids. So I actually kind of fit in a lot. A lot of my upbringing through the schooling, to kind of tie that back in together. I went to a lot of Southern Baptist stuff around. Like my parents were Catholic, not Irish Catholic. There's plenty of Catholic stuff here in Oklahoma that's not Irish Catholic, but we were like European style Catholic here, and that was very disassociative, very compliance driven, very like read the book and sing the words that don't rhyme, and so we like, I didn't know this is God. I had to say 7 Hail Marys and 10 Our Fathers. How does this, and I'm like admitting, I wonder what that priest was thinking when I'm in the confession booth, like, I hate my brother, and I'm here at school, and he's like 14 Hail Marys outside right now. I'm like, dude, that's fucked up. Now that I think about it, man, that shit's fucked up. I shouldn't be doing it. But I really gravitated to the Southern Baptist, man, because they give you rewards for memorizing Bible verses. Woo, that's great. You get candies for John 3:16. I could always get a John 3:16 or a Romans 4 something. I could memorize quickly, so I could like get some patches and stuff and fit in. I never felt like I fit in, and I really didn't fit in there because I would only come in every once in a while. Like that's the theme in my life where I come in and I'm like, I'm this big deal, and then I get out of your life and I go do my own thing. like in school, you know, I would say I consider myself born again Christian. I got really into like going to Falls Creek and Christian camp, and I didn't get laid at Christian camp. I went to worship God. I'm doing it all wrong. I like went there and I'm like eating biscuits and gravy and going to worship, and people are fucking smoking cigarettes and getting blowjobs up there. Man. I don't know. Shout out to Falls Creek, you rule. I love Falls Creek. I don't know if that's real. That's all.
How old were you at the time?
That was like 14, 15, man. Because I'm riding a bike to the comic book shop every day from my house, because my dad like beats me up a lot. You know, when he gets home, I'm like, I gotta fucking not be here when he does that. So I get a bicycle, and I like ride to the comic book shop every day. And I play Pokemon, and I play Magic the Gathering, and I play D&D and Vampire Masquerade, like with like people who are 25 and 30 in my age now. And I'm like 15, you know, and my parents are like, what are you doing here? Like they're thinking I'm like into something, you know, and it's really, that was the most innocent place I could have gone to. It was a bunch of virgin guys, you know, like gamers, dude. It was crazy, and they were some of my best friends, and they like treated me like a regular person. I would say shit, man. Like I'm learning words and like how to like diss people and stuff in there, you know. And they're like dogging on me, man. But they're dogging on everybody, so it was cool, man. And I actually got really good at this little card game, you know. And it kept me away from the house. And like one of my friends in school, he somehow became my friend. He's a valedictorian senior here. His name is Marshall Reeves. Also, shout out to Marshall if you're around. He's like an astrophysicist somewhere now. But he took me on, man, and he would drive me to these tournaments. We play Magic, and we fucking wreck these tournaments and like just do really well. And he had all this money, and I had like nothing. But like we were connected with this card game, and that was really cool. And I got a couple invites for the Pro Tour, which is like a grind, like one in Kansas City at midnight. I won it like a 200 person event, like just grinding games out. And then I qualified for Columbus and Honolulu, and my parents didn't let me go. I got a check each time for like $250 at the time, I believe. I also got on a Greyhound when I was 16 and went to New Orleans with my friends, and we just like played cards the whole weekend. My friend got like a tattoo, and he was like 16. That was like really cool. But I didn't do drugs. I didn't drink. I didn't do nothing, man. I mean, that
all through high school?
Halfway through high school, you know. There was that final move where from Putnam City to Yukon, my dad, he started his own plumbing company, and we were away from the welding, and he's like, okay, we're building a house here, and it's a little bit further away. It's like 20 minutes away, but it might as well been on Mars, you know, because it's this own little inlet of all these little streets. Technically Yukon, but it's northwest OKC out there. And Yukon was like a 20-minute drive to school, so I had to like, and we had off-campus lunch. And that junior year is when I got in, and I was working at the mall, at Quail Springs Mall, at Fruglati. My friends were smoking weed in the back of the store or whatever, the little thing we'd smoke. Then we'd go out to the front, and then we'd be like real high. I don't know. You never get in trouble for that. Eating sandwiches on the clock, like, oh man, I'm gonna eat this shit. You know, and like eating smoothies, drinking smoothies. I tell you, I mean, even like we would get, and something like that. Around that time is when I started discovering, like, oh, you can like numb yourself. I've had like a bitch beer or something at this point. I'm not really smoking weed, but my friends are smoking weed, and I'm like able to like get it from one guy to another guy, and they trust me because I don't smoke. I remember that being a thing, and I remember me going to Fruglati just one day being like, oh, that's what happened. It just came back to me. A guy baked it in a Fruglati blueberry muffin. He took like a half of Mexican red weed, orange, seedy, stemmy shit. He baked it in one fucking muffin, and he put it in the muffin tray, and he baked it. It came out, didn't taste like weed or anything. I ate my half. He took a bite and was like, this sucks, and I ate the rest of his. And it was like an hour later, dude, and I'm like swimming underwater. Like that's all I remember. Like just these kind of blinders, like, oh, and we're at the mall working. You know, like I have to close this shit down at 6 o'clock on a Sunday, and the owner, he comes in. I don't know if he knows or what's up, but we hadn't closed down shit. You know, it was like 6:30, 30 minutes after the mall's done, and we hadn't even like put the sandwich shit away. You know, we're just all fucking really toasted at work. And I didn't get in trouble for that. We all left, man. He ended up closing down for us when we left. And I remembered at that point, man, like that was fun. Like, I really liked doing that. It wasn't like, I'm numbing my pain. It was like, dude, that was really fucking fun.
What about consequences? That's gonna be my next question after that.
Consequences, so, nothing to start. I got away with a lot. But I started, when I did get caught the first time, getting caught with weed, my dad like searched my car when I went out on a walk, and I'm like, I hadn't been caught yet, so I'm like, smoking shit, like on a dog walk and stuff, like being careless with it, left it in my backpack with cigarettes, and my dad found it, and he beat me up, and he took it away, and like, I was in trouble or something, it was always just like a beating, and it's over, and then we're moving on from that. It's not like, you're grounded. I never got grounded for an extended period of time. My parents took my shit away a lot, and when I say my parents, my dad took my shit away a lot. But the consequences of that, man, like slowly, my mom found out, hey, he's getting this weed at work, so she made me not work there anymore. So that kind of made me like lose some friends, get some animosity. I'm still, and now I know I have to sneak in, right? And so I'm sneaking Benadryl at my work. We have this big helium tank, or not helium, CO2 tank. And if you like, I'm not gonna tell you how to do it, but you can get high off that shit, and your boss will find out when the canister is completely empty, and it's like a lifetime supply, man. It's basically like, it was like doing chargers, doing like fucking whippets. Yeah, it was like whippets, boom, 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 and it was great. You'd be high for like 10 seconds, go out front, try and like take care of a customer real quick, and then it just go away, and you're like, oh man. But I'm like finding that stuff out, and I'm doing, and the weed stinks, so I have to like do Benadryl, Dramamine. Yeah, dude, it's fucking like, we had an off-campus lunch at school, and I was like, hey man, anyone want to smoke? No, I'm the new kid, no, well, you'll know where I'll be. Every day I went to the park, I would buy a Mountain Dew at the gas station, and I'd drink that Mountain Dew, and I'd poke holes in it, and shit, and make a little pipe out of it. And then I'd smoke like a nickel's worth of weed, a little bit of weed or whatever, and I'd throw the can out, and then I'd come back to school, and I'd like play on the computer or something, I'd tell it was time for class. And looking back on it, I don't know, like if you could have said anything to me, if my parents said, okay, you can smoke weed at home, it would be any better, but I do know that at that point, in my family, it was considered like black tar heroin. My parents didn't know what the fuck to do with this. Like, what is this? Is drugs. We don't have the shit in Poland. We have alcohol. Things disguised as alcohol, like colognes and stuff in Poland that aren't really colognes. They're high alcohol things, so you can drink them. Or they're known like Listerine type shit. Cologne that you drink. Potpourri that you smoke. That kind of thing. It's not really potpourri. It's fucking weed or fake weed. But my dad called me again, not long after. I was 17. He called me again, and he gripped me by the mouth, and I remember he just picked me up on my face. Didn't hurt or anything. He just picked me up, put me on that, like the cupboard there, and he was ready to like wail into me, like, not even like, I'm gonna smack you down. It was just, he was ready to hit me like emotionally. He was ready to like fuck my world up because he busted me again. And I just said, okay, I'll leave. And he said, get the fuck out of here. So at 17, I was a senior in high school. I leave my house, I'm calling around my friends, and I just happened to have some random friend from the comic book shop. His parents said it's okay that I can stay over there. Just kind of fucked up to think about too. What kind of parents let that kind of shit happen, Oh, let me talk to your parents. They never talked to my parents. They just let me live at their house. And they lived on like Northwest Side, OKC, on Expressway in MacArthur. And then I went to school in Yukon, and I don't have a car. My dad took my shit. Get out. You can take your clothes and shit. Get the fuck out. Took my magic card and all the fucking shit.
Have you lost your virginity yet?
Yeah, I lost it at 17 as well. I told a girl, she came in, man, funny story. I just gotta relate to. She knows who she is, man. We were coming in, dude. We got that shit going on. I got her half naked. She's standing there. She got a shirt on. Pants and undies down. And my brother walks in. Mom said you guys can have some chocolates. And I said, yeah! And before I even noticed, he was already gone. Door was shut. Chocolates were floating in the air. Boom, hit on the ground, dude. And they didn't come back in ever again, man. And yeah, there's a girl out there, man. She like, guess she fell for me. Like when you are a virgin at that point, it's 16, 17, we were talking and making out and shit. That was an endearing quality for her. That's the kind of people that I hung out with, the Christian people and shit. I was like, kind of looked up upon, I wasn't sleeping around. And it was never a problem. No one made fun of me. I thought about it a lot as a kid. Like, am I gonna get laid? But it just ends up happening naturally.
Okay, so you're homeless now.
Yeah, I'm homeless living with a friend. I live in my friend's upstairs. His parents go to work all day, and they're like hoarders. And he's got a sister. There's power to like one bathroom, one washer, and then in one area of the house, everybody showers in that one particular shower. Everyone shits in that one particular area, and I live upstairs with my roommate, and we can like piss in the toilet, that's okay. But they also have a liquor cabinet in here, and while everyone's gone, and I get dropped off from school, I'm done at like 2:30. My friend's still like he's getting off work and going to Arby's, or getting off school and going to Arby's because that's where he works, shaving them sandwiches. Yeah, man, I slowly drink their liquor cabinet. But slowly, over a week, drink everything in their fucking liquor cabinet and replace one in can of water. Because now, moving out, I don't know how to deal with any of this. My family's kicked me out. I still love my family. I never doubted that my dad loved me. Every night he said, I love you, good night. But man, he was cruel. He was cruel in ways that he didn't know were affecting me, and I don't think he realized. It's just one of those things, and I'm medicating now with alcohol and cigarettes. Cigarettes give me that high. I'm smoking cool menthols. Love those. And man, I'm working at little crappy jobs. I get my own apartment after high school. I barely make it through high school. I walk with the senior class. But I don't think I ever really got my diploma. The thing is, no one's ever fucking checked. So it's like really not that big of a deal. People thinking about that kind of shit. But no one ever checked. I was like less than half a credit off. And I think I might have gained it from the college that I did at Rose State to kind of supplement that. But dude, it wasn't that big of a deal. I walked. That was the big deal. My parents came to that. And the relationship was just mostly strained. I get my own apartment at 18 Bluff Creek Apartments, baby, my first one. Yeah, dude, and I get in there, and I like make some friends. I don't even know where some of these friends come from, but I got into meth pretty quickly, cocaine and meth, from the restaurants. That's what it's from. Hey man, you want to try this? Yeah, I did these drugs later on as well, and they had a much more profound effect on me and my brain than when they did when I was 16 or 17. 16, 17, they were snorting coke. It's funny, it's all fun and games, we're not really high or something, are we? It's like over, we're smoking weed and we're drunk, it's just part of that lifestyle. It's when I got into the obsession. I hadn't been obsessed yet until they left me alone with that meth pipe in that apartment by myself, and I got no friends and no family, and all my friends are just druggies. And I work at Chili's with fucking scars all over my face because I can't stop picking my fucking face in the mirror, and there's no one there to like watch me or tell me anything. But I'm talking to a girl somehow, right? Through a friend. One of my druggy friends, he just knows a hot chick, right? From Hera, and we're like texting a lot, so I can kind of hide in that way, when we're talking. I'm pretending I'm sleeping and I'm texting her, good morning, baby. But I've been up all night, dude, and not realizing it. What's funny is I didn't even realize I had been up all night a lot of the time. I just like fucking running and gunning. I get off Chili's, I make like $21. And then I go to the apartment, and then I fucking get, $16 worth of shit, because I need like some $4 cigarettes at the time, and that'd be enough for the night. And the next day, same thing. Next day, same thing, man. I didn't pay, in the 6 months I lived in Bluff Creek, I didn't pay my rent one time. Someone paid my rent. They got paid by a druggy friend. Someone did it with a fake check. We did a Blockbuster scheme, man, where he would like set up a new account, and then I would steal all the cases, like the real cases, no videos. I'd just steal the cases because there's no censors in that shit. And then the person would create a new account and rent those same movies. Then I pair that shit up, and we go to the pawn shop about making like $3 or $4 a movie, and now we got drugs, you know. And we did that a bunch, man. By the end, dude, you do the Blockbuster thing. You start it, spend a few hours going to all the Blockbusters. By like the third or fourth Blockbuster, they're already tipped off. Like, don't take these fucking checks. Hey, don't take the checks, man. It's just gonna bounce. And we're like fretting, like, what's the maximum I can write a check? You know, fucking dumb, dude. And we're like doing that shit, man. That's part of the running gun and trying to get a little bit of drugs, a little bit of tweaker shit. Eventually it all comes to a head, man. The girl I'm talking to and the girl I'm dating, they end up at the apartment together. Like, I'm with one, and one shows up, and I open the door, and I'm fuck, shut the door in her face. And I'm like, oh, fuck, man. And I got like friends in here, you know? And so I like make a decision, and I open the door, I step outside, and she's like, what are you doing? And I like make a choice right then to choose the new chick, right? I'm like, it's over. Like, we're done. I'm moving on. New chick opens the door. Who's this? Like, fuck. And she's like, hey, are you gonna tell her about us? You know, and I just kind of like let one chick or the first chick, like the whole thing, just be like, I don't know, made her feel stupid. I was like, I don't know what's up. You know, and she like had to leave and shit, and we're like, bye. And she like slashed the girl's tires, and they left, you know. We didn't know she slashed the tires right away, that was afterwards, but yeah, that happened. And that was the consequence, you know. I'm now with this new chick. New chick is kind of hearing some shit, but new chick kind of like that bad guy Peter, you know. Bad guy Peter is like cool, life of the party, you know. I'm under the influence a lot, so I say kind of what's on my mind all the time. I feel cool. I come in, I provide the liquor, I drink the liquor, we get the drugs. What do you want? I'm into that. You want to do something and get some. I'm into that lifestyle, man, and that's all it became. And that was my calling card. And people left me slowly as they realized that I was as shallow as I was. I wasn't anything deeper than that. I consider myself a deep thinker, smart man with thoughts that like could move mountains. But at that point, man, it didn't matter what I had to say. I was just, is he drunk or not? He's probably drunk. I could barely deal with it. I moved into a house with my friend. I'm 20, man. I work in an AT&T, so I'm still getting like good jobs and shit. I'm hiding it pretty well to the world. But my friends, I'm the party king. We're getting fucked up every night. 30 packs of Keystone, Guitar Hero, baby. That's us. I'm expert. Not missing shit. We're not playing it for fun anymore. And drinking 25 Keystones because I need like 2 or 3 for the morning, and I need 1 like for right now, you know. And so like my dad starts kind of coming back into my life, and he starts like, you know, stopping by the house to like say hello and leaving and shit. That's kind of how we are in my family, kind of surfacey and like, you know, dry and like not talking about our feelings and shit. And you know, we start kind of connecting again a little bit. You know, he's making the effort. I saw his ass, man. He had bleached it with some kind of like weird ass bleach. He had like this little comb over Hitler style looking shit. You know, but it was all like bleached blonde, like orange yellow. Like what the fuck? And this guy was scary, man. Terrorized me my entire life. Like you fear God. I fear this man. I would never raise a hand to him. He's stronger than me. He fucking has my number, you know. I saw him with this bleach blonde hair, this little fucking gut he's got. And I'm like, it's fucking getting soft, man. Like this guy is like, maybe he's changing a little bit. He wants to get back into my life and stuff. And then I worked one day at AT&T, man. In November, my mom gives me a call, and my dad's dead. And I'm like, what do you mean he's dead? Dad's dead. Get home.
What was this, 2007?
2007, 2008. I mean, it's a blur. I think it's 8. I mean, I have to look at the tombstone. He's in Poland. I'm hoping to go back this year and like actually see it. Moral, like he wanted to be buried in there. I guess I'm getting ahead of myself, but he had gotten some tramadol. He said his heart hurt. He went to a local doctor to get him tramadol. He took it. He's like allergic to it or something. He fell asleep on his back while mom was cooking him dinner, and he like threw up, and he just asphyxiated. And it was real sudden. And what fucks me up to this day, and just kind of, because I have been dealing with this lately, to kind of figure out like how this has affected me. You know, he probably didn't think he was gonna die when he went to sleep. You know, he probably thought, I got this thing planned, and this I'm gonna do tomorrow, and then I'm gonna eat this fucking dinner, and I wonder what I'm gonna do with Peter. You know, I wonder what went through his brain, man. But And same, you know, obviously it's not the same, but like a murder or like a car accident, kind of that same vibe I would get where you're just like, you know, they weren't expecting that. What were they thinking? You know, was he dreaming while it was happening? You know, and I get to the house. What's funny is on that turnpike, man, they used to have these poles. You got to put some coins in there, quarters or dimes or nickels. And I threw like 3 pennies in the fucker right by the house, and it turned green and it opened. And it was always kind of weird. I'll never be able to prove that or show that to anyone. But that really did happen, man. I threw 3 pennies in the fucker. Thing open. I get home, yeah, my dad's dead. He's laying in the bed, man, you know, and it's just sad. He's pale, he's cold. We're all sad. Polish people are arriving. We know locally. They're all sad. We're all stunned. You know, my dad doesn't want to be buried in America. That was like one of his last wishes. Was like, I want to be buried next to my dad in Poland. Well, his dad wasn't dead yet, so we are burying him in Poland, but buried him next to my mom's dad. Mostly so, like my mom's side of the family can go to the grave and like care for the flowers and stuff. That's a little bit more something they do over there in America. It's not really like that. You know, we drop it and leave. This is like my grandma goes there every day, or a couple times a week, and trims the flowers, replaces them, and stuff like that. You know, and I heard it was a beautiful ceremony. Sunbeams were shining on the casket as it was going down, all that stuff. And I'm a month before I turned 21, man, so I just fucking lost it. And I leaned heavily into the drugs and the alcohol pretty much right away.
Was it meth mainly?
At this point, meth is kind of out because I need to like, it's because alcohol is just kind of overtaken. You know, I've had some consequences from the meth. We're finding out. I hate the connotation. Oh, it's a dirty drug. I hate what people think about me on that. So at this point, I'm like switched just to alcohol. But mostly, I mean, if I'm not doing meth, it's because I ain't got to connect. And I'm not a good enough druggie to have multiple connects. I got one guy, and I'm buying from you for life. Every day, twice a day, I need 13 cents worth, you know. I'm that fucking guy. I'm a loyal customer, but you gotta get it to me all the time. And if I don't have that, then no one's selling me the drug, man. I don't have any friends. Because everything's surface level, everything's fucked up all the time. Everything's like, people are looking at me like they don't want to be friends with this guy because, you know, look at me, you know, I'm a disaster. Inconsistent. So I'm heavily on alcohol. I mostly lean into the alcohol. I decided I lose my job. I'm in the union at AT&T. I missed too many days, man. I couldn't wrap my head back around into coming into work. It's so heavily affected me. I lost my girlfriend, the second girl, cruelly. I don't know if that's what I needed at the time. Cruelly, she started leaving me at that time that my dad died when I really needed someone the most. And so I'm alone. I moved back in with mom. And I remember turning 21 and drinking Bud E. Remember Bud E? Yeah, dude, it was a Budweiser energy drink.
That was the worst drunk I've ever had. I can't stand that shit.
Yeah, Bud E, man. You know, I just remember drinking heavily for years and years. What happens is, living at mom's house, man, she's cooking me meals every day. That's like all we have is the food, man. And I'm loving the food. That's like the only bright spot in my life. And we had a little bit of money from dad dying, like 20 grand. We weren't preparing for any of this. We don't have any kind of like contingency plan. We don't have anything saved up. It's like 20 grand. We have enough to buy a restaurant. And so without any experience, and I've just been serving my whole life, we buy a little restaurant on 39th Street. I call it Maggie's Cafe. And I run that for 3 years. I find a new girl through that, a different type of girl, supposedly Christian. Ends up she's Jehovah's Witness. That ain't Christian, just so you know. Yeah, I get with a Jehovah's Witness, which means I can be without God. It's kind of what my excuse was for that. Like because now she's kind of like Jehovah's Witness out of the church, and so she's kind of like not talking to God, and I'm like having my thing with God, which is unfair. Why did you take my dad away? Why do I have to deal with all this? Why am I different? You know. So I have the restaurant, man. I mean, long story short on that is I did some great things with it, and I did some, and I let it go. I gave it away. I didn't lose it. Yeah, money was getting tight. My employees slowly started quitting on me. My head server, which was my girlfriend at the time that I was living with, she couldn't deal with me anymore, which meant she couldn't do the restaurant anymore. And so we just sold it. Like, that's something I would do as a drunkard. Just, all right, let's fucking sell it then. And I sold it and regretted it the rest of my life.
How old are you at this time?
I am mid-20s, 25. I'm like 25 years old. I'm skinny. I lost a lot of weight. I look really good in the restaurant business. Not on drugs for a little bit, but then slowly drinking beers, and slowly drinking R&R, and just sticking to R&R. Black Magic came out around that time, which was like the fake weed. So that was kind of popular. And we were like experimenting with that. It wasn't debilitating. But the alcohol was like so all-consuming, the sneaking. Like, I'm going to Carl's Jr., but I'm really going to the liquor store and buying 4 shots and drinking them and grabbing Carl's Jr. and coming back. And my girlfriend would never notice, you know, and I'm sneaking shots like this everywhere I go. Because I just can't deal with it, man. You know, with my dad and stuff, the pressure. I sell the restaurant, now I can't deal with like losing the restaurant. Woe is me. Now I gotta go work for the men here in downtown at Jasmo's on the grill, man. It was a hard ass job, dude, and the work was difficult. And I used to own a restaurant. Now I'm cooking on a stupid grill, and I can barely stay sober like long enough to like know what the fuck's going on, and I'm like passing out long enough that it's like 5 p.m. and I gotta be at work at 4:30 p.m. downtown. I'm like blacked out, you know, and I gotta wake up and get changed, go cook on the grill for 10,000 people. It's awful lifestyle. I lost everything. My girl left me. I lost the apartment. I couldn't afford it anymore. I moved back in with mom again. Thanks, mom. Yeah, mom's the only one left at this point, man. I'm like 28, 29. The point is to like get a little hop up here at mom's and then like go fucking find my next thing, right? What ends up happening is I look around. What's the easiest place I can get a job at right now and get some money? Buffalo Wild Wings, Northwest Expressway location. So I get that job, man. I'm feeling confident. I had just gotten a haircut and gotten an ID card. And I was like, dude, I look fucking awesome. I went in and got that job at Buffalo Wild Wings. It was awful. Pretty soon, I'm the only guy working there, you know, so it's kind of like you go to the bar or the strip club, right? And you're like there to go see something at the strip club. You get there, man, and the stripper assigned to you is like the really overweight, one titty, big eyes chick, you know, and you're like, you're not angry, but that's not what you really came here for. And now you're let down, and I am that guy for you at Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm not a chick, I'm not pretty, I'm not particularly good at my fucking job. I don't really care. I'm on ice all the time. I'm hearing Game Boy music in my ear. I can hear that all the time just because you've been up for days, man. It's like that sting going on in my ear. It was like someone took a bell and went ding. My whole body was ringing like that all the time. You know, and really that short trip at mom's house ended up being like 5 years, man. I ended up sticking at mom's house. Started doing the cake stuff. So once we were done with the restaurant, there's some people still wanted some cakes. We sold these awesome cakes at the restaurant. We ended up taking that with us, selling it to a couple, and that's kind of how I started. But I'm on meth, so I think we're the best cakers in the entire fucking world, man. I'm taking weird ass photos, dude. That's not good. Facebook.
Are you on social media at this time?
Not quite. Not quite, man. Because I got on social media once I started getting pancreatitis. So it was kind of like a third of the way through my recovery journey. I still got I don't really got a phone and shit at this point. I'm kind of like grimy and like playing on the computer and stuff. Yeah, and my phone is taking away a lot. My mom stopped paying for it because I'm just making drug deals. So he's like, why would I pay for this phone? So not really on social media. I don't really have anything to show, but my earliest photos are awful. They're just like I'm sucked in. They're like I think I look good. I'm like talking to girls on social media, kinda, because that's the chameleon in me, is I can hide in here. But man, I'm deteriorating at mom's house. In Surrey Hills, I can pretend to be this guy. I live in this white picket fence neighborhood. Nobody assumes this of me. So I get to run and gun and every day steal something from mom or pawn it or fucking pawn something, you know, do whatever, steal something from Walmart, you know, hit a lick, do whatever I can, man. And it's not like robbing people and shit. I'm such a loner. It's anything that I can do alone. So I can steal shit, I can fucking like pawn shit, I can like juggle shit, I can like sell Pokemon cards, man. I can use my card game knowledge to sell shit to like tournament players, but nothing, it's all funding like just alcohol and drugs, and with no real plan inside.
In your 30s,
living at mom's in my early 30s, in my prime, dude. And I'm wondering, like, how come I can't find a girl at the time? I remember times waking up, man, in the morning, and it would be like, and I didn't know what day it is, what time it is, like what week it is, what the fuck is going on, what did I say, what didn't I say? I wake up, the sun's up. No, like my mom's not home, like so I don't I'm like trying checking for clues, you know, like is mom mad at me? Well, she's not here, man. I'm checking my room. Everything looks okay. Sometimes you can black out, pass out, and you get lucky and nothing bad happens. Not often. You usually say something smart off, and it's usually got to do with like Klonopin or something, you know, making me do some weird ass shit where I'm like up and down, and like my brain's gone, man. I like fried my brain out. A long time, my serotonin, I said my serotonin wouldn't work. I just couldn't feel happy anymore. Because this meth had squeezed all this juice, my happy juice out of my brain, man. You know, I couldn't make happy thoughts. You know, and yeah, like it's sponged out, man. Like I couldn't read nothing, I couldn't comprehend nothing. I was so zoomed in on my little world that like I couldn't see how deep of shit I was in. And I thought I looked fine. I thought I looked off. I got a job at some point. Well, actually, what happened is first I go to Yukon one day, go buy some liquor, and go speak to a counselor. Because maybe I can like tell him, you know, that I've got problems and they'll give me like some fucking drugs. That's never to get the help from a counselor. It's because maybe I can get some pills. And I know that the abuse bar and shit like that, I don't want that shit. I want the like strong stuff. I want some value. So I go to this place, and it's not a counselor place. It's like some place called Community House that's not a rehab, but they like get people into rehab. And so I told them I was homeless and living in my car and just drinking too much, just like making shit up. And they were like, actually, let's call this place. And they called the place, and they said, they said that if you can be here tomorrow, then we'll have a bed for you. And it's a place called Community House. And I was like, okay, and they gave me the paperwork, I got my shots in the car, and I have an interlock in my car. And this whole time, because none of this made any difference to me, I had 5 DUIs. DUIs were a thing. I drank and drove everywhere. I was so alone to do all this stuff, and so ashamed of what I was doing, which is drinking myself stupid in an RV parking lot, falling asleep with the AC blowing in my face, waking up with no AC left in the car because you've been asleep for 3 or 4 hours in the hot sun, you know, after eating like fucking 5 sandwiches from Arby's. What the fuck was going on? Or living in like telling my mom I have a job and living in the Walmart like parking lot on the outside, getting there at like 8:30 in the morning because I'm supposed to work at 8, getting there at 8:30, and parking like on the edge and turning off my car in the summer because I have no money and no gas, but I have like $7 for like Gatorade and like what's the most liquor I can get for $5? That's my mentality every day. I'm not drinking beer. I'm drinking the strongest, cheapest shit you got. And it became just so much work. And somehow this call, you know, it gets me into a rehab called Community House. I'm thinking it's a detox. I'm thinking they're gonna give me some pills. I'm gonna hang out or whatever, man. And so I get there, and they're like, "We're not a detox. You're gonna have to go to the crisis center overnight to like, you know, kind of get monitored, make sure you don't have a seizure before you get in here." I've never heard of that happening. So I go, boom, they look at me, and they're like, "He's fine." So I call my mom. She has to take me back to Community House. I remember stealing a Percocet out of her purse. As I left for the waiting room to go in, and when I got in, I said, "Can I go use your restroom?" And I went to the Community House bathroom and broke down a Percocet 10 and snorted it before I went in. And that wasn't weird to me. I thought that was like, get fucked up before you get in here, you know. I was already like holding onto the sides and pushing me in the door. I was already like going against the grain, like not wanting to do it. I wasn't ready to change at that point. I came in, I had behavioral problems. I was a show off. I thought everyone was dumber than shit. And some people are dumb in there, but I thought I thought it was an insult to my intelligence to be in this program of rehab right here. So I didn't apply myself anything with like literature or like knowledge. I would like show everyone I'd write out something so smart and well thought out. But it didn't ever hit home with people, and I was like, why not? Because I wasn't trying to change. I wasn't changing anything. I was just complying. I got kicked out of that rehab because I mean there was like this kid.
How long?
35 days.
Is that a 60-day program?
It's a 30, 60, 90. I heard that you can get out in 35 days if you're good. I had my assessment at 32 days, and the guy was like, you are not nowhere ready to go out of this place, man. You haven't learned anything. And I was like, I'm fucking ready. And Thanksgiving's coming up, and I want to be with my family. And this guy, like, it was like in front of everyone, the guy just came up, he had a pee stain in his sweats. I'm like, dang, so-and-so, did you just piss your pants? And nobody fucking laughed. Everyone, like, they did not like that I did that. Like, no one. And then the next day I got kicked out. That was tied to that. I heard that from someone else, from my men's group. But they kicked me out, man. I'm addicted to going to meetings because I'm like, oh shit, I'm out. So Aaron Asher around in this time, some people in this area I cling to. I go to these meetings. One day I go to a meeting. It's like 3 days after getting out, so like day 37. Go to a meeting across the city, get there, the meeting didn't make, so it didn't start. I'm halfway across the city with no tools or anything, and I drank that night. And the next day I applied for sober living, it was too late. I was already lying about having drank the night before and being on Percocet, because I moved right back in with mom. I know where she hides that shit, I can manipulate her if I need to. Yeah, it was all bad, man, and I was kind of hopeless at that point. I couldn't quite figure it out. The rehab hadn't worked. I wasn't any better. I was still angry, and the whole process, it didn't feel good. And I saw what it did for other people, and that class of people that left. There was a lot of good people in there. They only got to see my bad side. I got a little job at Clark Crew Barbecue. My mom went to Poland that year. 34 or 35. She went to Poland on vacation to take the Percocets with her and stay in Poland for a month and a half. It's a vacation, but that was for us. I knew that's why that's something she would do in addition to that. And that would be a way for me to clean up off of drugs and figure it out. I'd stay in the house. And then I got this little job at Clark Crew Barbecue. And so I don't know how I got the job, man. I'm pretending I'm sober. I'm kind of sober. I'm not drinking a lot yet. I've had a shot here. I'm still drinking every day. A little shot here, a little shot there. Or I'll have I'll go to work and I'll work and then I'll get off work and have a couple shots and go home. And that's way better than I was. So for me, I'm doing pretty good. I know I'm not doing good, but for me, I'm doing okay. This is right before COVID. At this job, I have this newfound confidence. It's brand new restaurants. We all trained, over a few weeks together and stuff. And I got close to some people and you get to know how I can hide and how I can assimilate. And I'm trying to turn over a new leaf. I'm not good at it yet, but I'm trying to. I'm honestly okay, I'm going to be good here. And I am mostly good. I'm pretending to be really good in front of these people. When I leave, I'm beating myself up because I can't stop drinking. I'm still having 2, 3, 4 shots, drinking till late. But with this confidence, I feel something. I feel someone in here likes me. In this restaurant, and I'm feeling almost desirable. I've been single for 8 years, never been with anyone, didn't sleep around. I knew I was so sick that entire time I couldn't even invite anyone in. And the type of relationship I want to be in, that person wouldn't get involved with me. if I could trick you into being in with me, or if you could look past my drug and alcohol addiction, I knew you ultimately weren't going to be good enough for me, because I needed someone who was clean or sober, or who had something going for them. So I thought it was this 18-year-old chick over here, man. Ends up, it's my manager at work that actually has a crush on me, and I don't know about it. I'm into this 18-year-old chick. I'm telling the manager chick, like, I'm really into this chick. We're gonna go on a date, and this chick is married, and I don't care, because I'm so selfish. Ultimately, I'm so selfish. I want to maybe get laid. It's the first time I'm semi-sober. Like, maybe I can get laid and see what all the guys are talking about here. All these movies and shit. I've always been like, only sleep with who I'm in a relationship with. So, I'm thinking maybe, I can get on that or whatever. Ultimately, that's not gonna work either, because she's married. And she's texting me while he's asleep next to her and stuff. It's fucked up. We're like holding hands. Like, we're innocent, And then it ends up not working out. COVID happens. My manager calls me, says that she quits. And then she like says something like, "Oh, we can be friends," or whatever. And we end up like staying on the phone a little bit longer. And then we end up talking all night long. And then like the next morning I get up and I'm like, and I go like, she kind of told me at night, like the area she lives. So I like get in my car and I drive to that area from Surrey. I call her at like 11 and I'm like, hey, and I was like, we were both excited. I knew this conversation came off really well. Like, we were really into each other. And we're like really flirting it up, man. It's really easy. And I'm like in her, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm crazy right now, but I'm in your neighborhood somewhere because I want to see you. And she's like, I am not even close to seeing anybody right now. And she meant she's not ready with the makeup and shit, man. So, but she was digging on me, and we went on a date. It's COVID. COVID had just happened. Everything was shut down. She came to my mom's house. And I told her I was living with my brother, but sometimes I stay with my mom. And sometimes I stay with my brother, man. And so it ends up. This is the chick I stay with, man. This is Kelsey. This is my future wife. We basically do COVID together, and then we find out that she finds out I'm an alcoholic. I kind of hid my alcoholism. I got in with her. I drank her liquor cabinet. Cat's out of the bag. She's got to figure it out now. They can't stop drinking. She was a drinker as well, like a little bit of wine, some Fireball. I could blend it in, but it got to the point she was like, okay, don't drink, and I couldn't stop. So we had like a really bad year. I started going to TRC, started trying to change for her. I did, she stopped drinking while I was in TRC, like, just to like, hey, let me try anything to get this fucker sober, and so she quit drinking, and I still drank for another year, couldn't get to it. And then she was calling people on her phone, calling around for rehabs to see what I could find, because I was adamant I won't do a 90-day, and looking through the phone, I mean, she called these random numbers, and I mean, she called one of your guests from a few weeks ago, Drew Laboon, somehow gets to her, and he suggests Country Road as a place to go, and that is, 90 days, and I'm like, I ain't doing that shit. 90 days is too much, man. My life's too important. I got too much shit going on. I have my job at Rococo. I'm just sitting here like serving. I'm like unimportant. We get into a rehab called Landmark. I don't think it's there anymore. I think it's already closed down. Yeah, they had some issues, but Landmark at the time was exactly what I needed. At the time, I've been going to local alcoholics meetings to kind of like, mostly because I was required to at first, and I caught a whiff of some of the stories in there. Like, I think these people are being honest. Like, you wouldn't be in here unless you like had to be. And I did see genuine sobriety in there. I'm like, okay, maybe there's something in here. I just wasn't ready to listen to that stuff. I went to this rehab, Landmark, man, and I remember chugging this Smirnoff Red, White, and Blue before I went in. It was my last drink ever, Smirnoff Red, White, and Blue. Tall boy, 9 o'clock in the morning, in front of the gas station. telling my wife, yeah, I'm coming back right now. And we went to this rehab, and the first person I seen was someone I knew from the meetings. And then I just knew that I was going to be okay. My wife's crying. I get into this rehab, and from day one in this rehab, man, I am killing it. I go to every meeting in there. I am so ready to change. I almost lost this last chick, man. And I'll tell you, dude, for the ladies out there, man, he don't just quit for anyone, you know, but he does quit for you. You know, so if you got a guy out there trying to quit for you, man, you know, maybe he's trying to get him in a rehab or something. You know, I had to be forced. Like I had to, like, all the stars had a line. I made every mistake, every solution given to me in the beginning is like, maybe this will work for you. Every time that they gave me that, I put it in the back of the line, and I just never listened to it. And I tried everything else instead. And I finally came into this rehab. I finally heard enough. Finally was sick and tired of like letting everyone down and being so angry. In those last days of drinking, man, I was angry, was flushed all the time, passing out before my wife can get home from work. She's my girlfriend at the time, but she's like, don't drink today. And the second she leaves, I'm walking to the liquor store. And then I'm buying 4 shots and I'm coming back. And then this will get me through the night. And then like an hour later, I'm putting the shoes back on and I'm walking back to the liquor store for 2 more. And then I get 2 more and then it's like 10:30. And I'm like, all right, I got to get to the liquor store. Liquor store's closed. And I got to walk to the gas station and buy a beer. And it's exhausting living that way. And hiding it and not accepting it, you know, like, dude, I've got an issue. And it was so accepted and people tiptoed around it in society. What we do, like, this guy's got an obvious problem right in our face. What do? We look away, we don't talk about it. I don't know how I got through so many shifts, how I got so many passes, and why no one said anything. It's uncomfortable to say something, is mostly what it is. People don't want to be like, you know, like they didn't want to ask. People don't want to know. They obviously see, and they're kind of stuck with you. Especially you show up to a job and that's your coworker. They're kind of stuck with it because they don't want you to leave because they need help. But you know, you're effed up all the time, man. Or inconsistent. I see all my behaviors in you know, these other people as well. Anger, the like just irritable, restless, and discontent. And so yeah, I could have gone to any kind of meeting. Choice for drugs, for sex addiction, any of these would have worked. But for me, where I saw the most sobriety is when it pertained to alcohol. And that alcohol is like the layman's way to mess me up personally. I didn't need a drug dealer. I didn't have to go very far to get it. It didn't cost a lot of money, but I can get it quickly, and it's effective. It's quick and effective, and it's accepted. You know, today, you know, I guess I'll just kind of jump in today, man. You don't have to be like that. The first year, dude, getting out, I mean, Brooks knows about it. Me and Brooks kind of went through our first year together. We messaged each other a lot. I messaged him a lot about my feelings. It was weird. Like, hey, man, I hope you have a good day. It's fucking cringy, you know, and it felt cringy. I'm like, is this cringy? You know, we're like saying good job to people, and we're seeing like crackheads in our meetings, and we're like, these are our best friends now, you know, and they're like, keep coming in and out, and they got face tattoos, and they're my friends. You got a face tattoo? Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't know Chris had a face tattoo. No, I didn't. There's lots of those. But a lot of them leave, man. Chris has a face tattoo that's safe, you know. You know, but you learn this kind of like way of being selfless and living a different way. You can kind of quickly learn like whether someone's being genuine or not. You go in there, man. I was getting up. I didn't have anything to do. Wake up at 7 a.m. I'd go to the meeting, and then I'd eat like a donut or drink a coffee, and then I'd come home and I'd sleep until the noon meeting, and then I'd go have some donuts or whatever, and then I'd that was my worst time, like 1 p.m. to like 4 p.m. There are no like local meetings around here that'll help out. So I was just always by myself, and I would just like stay home, or I'd go to my mom's house, or I'd find someone and message Brooks and message someone and just talk about it, man. And it seems so weird, but those like little moments, I just got from moment to moment, and slowly the moments got a little bigger and bigger, and my brain started like setting these new paths, you know, where new rewards. You know, my old reward was be angry, get drugs, feel better. And now it was like, get angry, breathe, and deal with my emotions and feel better. And I had to do that a few times so it would actually like set a groove into my brain and like draw over my other stuff. One thing that was pivotal for me was there was an after rehab program called ILP, intensive outpatient programs, which was super lame. We didn't really do much in there, but it was a place for us after rehab to like hang out with people fresh out of rehab. I was really nervous when I first got out. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I was not too excited. I was not too sad. I didn't want to feel anything because, you know, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I got a really terrible haircut. I'm like working on my confidence. You know, I had negative confidence when I got to rehab. When I got out, it was neutral confidence. I was just kind of like, okay, maybe I'm okay. Maybe I'm all right. You know, maybe I see some things in me that are cool. You know, and we found a men's group personally with a lot of strong recovery in it. You know, and I don't really know specifically. I think it was just friends of friends, being in the know. You know, I got into this men's group, and that's where I saw like the strongest sobriety around, where people take it seriously, and we come in and we don't take it so serious like Catholic Church, you know, where it's like we have to do this, but we come in and we're all serious about our recovery. We don't come in there and like make a mockery of it and just like, you know, have fun or whatever. Like we do have fun, but this is also giving the solution. There's plenty of meetings that I can go around to and get catharsis and get something off my chest and raise my hand. I don't want to speak on this subject because I'm still feeling something about myself. It's going to the meeting and like sitting down and like not raising your hand because you like don't really have anything to say about it, and you're kind of like stewing and getting through that meeting and leaving and getting that little tiny slice of humility. Like it wasn't about me that one time, and just practicing that over and over. It used to be like signing the papers in the meeting was a big deal. Like, all right, kiddo, I got the pen here. I'm the signer at the 7 p.m. over here. You know, and who gives a fuck? Dude, I was losing sight of like what that was. When I finally like just kind of let people do it on their own, I started realizing the people who do the basket, they're actually the ones who got a chance, man. The people who like change the trash cans, who come in and like do the coffee, who stay like a touch later, those are the people who actually got a shot. The ones who were like me on the outside looking in, sitting down, hoping I'd hear some kind of miracle thing in this meeting in here from some guy I can't relate to. You know, like that never happened. And every time I left, I'd just be pissed because I still hadn't gotten it. And it's just another day of me drinking. I go to a liquor store after the meetings, you know, and it finally got to the point where it wasn't about me and I didn't care about me. And really what it was my sponsor did my thinking for me. I had a sponsor in rehab and he followed me through. And anytime I had a problem, man, I just called him and like, dude, I'm feeling sad, man. You know, and he'd be like, dude, buckle up, you know, like this is fucking life. Have you prayed about it? You know, and it was like the stupidest, cheesiest shit. Have you helped someone else? I locked my keys in my car one day and my friend had to come pick me up and go drive me. And like normally I would have lost my shit. Locking my keys in a car cost $1 million, blah, blah. You know, my friend came, he picked me up. I like went and got my girlfriend's car, and we came. It ended up just being totally fine. And I was like, one of the first times I realized like maybe I was too zoomed in. I need to take that screen and like zoom out a couple of times and see what the big picture is. You know, my big picture is more like a week ahead, not like what is. You know, and at the time it was just a day at a time. What can I do today? Today I can just go to meetings and I can call Brooks and I can maybe like eat dinner. You know, and that was enough for that day. You know. And then there were days where, you know, I'm questioning what's, my big thing is what's God's will and what's God's will for me and what's my will and how do I choose between the two. And on that I even got too zoomed in as well, man. Like I just thought everything. Do I quit this job that I got Brooks to come work at me with me at, and I was like, man, should I quit this job? I'm overworked, I'm underpaid, blah, blah, blah. But the guy did me a service and took me back after rehab. And, you know, ultimately it was, you know, I need to take care of my peace of mind. The people at my work aren't going to do that for me. So yeah, I do need to quit. So I'm going crazy. That's what I used to do is put up with it at work. And what I used to do is say, oh, I work on Wednesdays? Well, I guess I can't go to that meeting then. and I actually reversed it and said Sundays, Wednesdays, and these particular meetings, I can't work. And every employer I've told since that point, if you're worried about that, they're totally cool with it. My last employer, big hot shot restaurant here in downtown, they said, we'll let you have it off for the right kind of reasons. And they just let me have whatever days and whatever kind of schedule I wanted off, so I could have my own mental health day. And it's very trendy to get mental health help. It's trendy, and I mean that, like, people are supportive in that. You don't have to be like, man, I'm scared, I have an addiction.
So stigmatized.
Yeah, there was a big stigma, like, hey man, you gotta do this on your own. And I took it by myself because I didn't want people to know. But to destigmatize it is to accept it, and to accept it is to, like, admit it and work on it. And, like, maybe I do have to do this cheesy thing, which is read a page out of this stupid book. Like, you can begrudgingly, we know people who are begrudging in the program. Like, we're originally begrudgingly did some of the initial steps in the program, but they still did it to the best of their ability, and that was enough to get started. Eventually you double back in and you solidify that. But mostly for me was to come in and, like, what can I do so you think I know what I'm doing? And then I can leave and do my own life. But when I was leaving, man, that's when my life was a problem. I knew what right and wrong were simply because I had done so much wrong. I didn't know particularly how to be right and how to be good, but I did know how to be bad, and I knew that if I wanted any success in life, I need to look at that and do the opposite of that. Do the opposite, do everything the opposite of what I was doing. And usually you can't do that. Like today, I wouldn't be able to do the opposite of everything I was doing because we're so ingrained in our life, and there's the hustle and bustle right in rehab. When I had a chance to, like, clean everything off and, like, reset fresh, and everyone put their life on hold so I could get the help that I needed for that 35 days or whatever and get out, made all the difference. So some things like that work for me, man. I need to be inspired. My sponsor needs to be inspiring to me. I can't just have a guy who does the minimal programming that's good enough for him, and he gets by and stays sober. Because I'm a crazy kind of drunk, man. I can't not do this. And I've thought about not doing it, and I think we all have those thoughts. Like, should I maybe not be in recovery? Maybe I should be one of those California sober. Maybe I should just trip some, mushrooms every once in a while and get with my chakras and, do all that stuff. But for me, man, it always ends poorly. And that's just a means to an ends, and it's a reason to get back and to make my brain feel good. I like putting stuff up my nose and in my mouth, and, like, smoking it in my lungs to feel good. And that's one of the main things in my life. And if I'm allowed to, be like that rat in Rat City that has, like, only drugs in his water bottle, then I will sit there and do the drugs, and I will sit and watch my life waste away as I was. But if I'm motivated and I see, good, strong men around me, and I take that first leap of faith, these meeting places, man, and if you're struggling, there's places that that there's some kind of recovery going on there. That's probably the place you need to be going to so you can, like, ask about it, or find someone to sponsor you, or ask what this recovery lifestyle is all about. It's not about me, like, and I thought about this a lot when I got out of rehab. I'm like, it's not about us, like, getting together and playing fucking volleyball and, like, hey, we're fucking sober together. Look at us, we're so cool. We're so nervous and tiptoeing, and it's the sobriety. Once you got it, man. You got it to a certain point. And if you're doing the right things to continue to have it, that's the stipulation, is you have to continue to keep doing it, or you lose it. You don't get to just keep it and not have work, and that's what we've learned. And minimal work doesn't work either. For this lifestyle here, man, just on the weekend and drinking sodas, which I thought would be so lame, and I got to help my wife change her tire yesterday, and I looked at it so pissy last night when she called me. My tire's, blown on the highway, and I was so fucking pissed off at myself. But I'm making dinner, and, you should have checked your tire beforehand, but dude, at the end of the day, man, I never had this kind of stuff. No one's ever relied on me for anything. Even friendship, even a high five, even $1. They never looked at me for anything. So for me to be able to just go change that tire for my wife. And I didn't realize until after I changed the tire. A lot of this you learn in hindsight. But that's what happens, man. When we're drunk, we have so many problems and they pile up on us. And when we get sober, we slowly, one by one, start taking care of these little problems. License taken care of. That guy I said that shit to, taken care of. This guy I know, taken care of. We start actually not taking on more problems. And when we get a problem, we can actually deal with it in a concise way right away and move on with the rest of our list. Which our list is like our goals, man. And I mean, I've seen Nemo's list for the first milli, we all got some goal lists and we need to get in there. And we do that cheesy shit that you think is cheesy, dude, it works. Yeah, and you can't have all these people and us, like hopeless, lost alcoholics and addicts, and not look at that and say, maybe something they're doing is right. It wasn't us, man. It was God. If you don't believe in God and you bristle with that, something in the universe fucking clicked and it just got in front of us. That's a good way to believe it, man, because that's kind of what worked for me. The religion, stuff like that never worked. But this program, these programs, these people, the recovery lifestyle has truly worked for me and made me actually change my life into a way that I want to impress them. Remember how I want everyone to like me? I want people to like me because I'm a badass, not because I said something funny or because I got the coolest car, but because I'm actually a genuine cool person to be around. Not because I got the best cakes, even though I fucking do. But it's because, you want me around and you want my input and learning to be more supportive and learning to be there for my friends. And, I had to start all the way over with nothing. I had to lose everything. Some people hit that rock bottom a lot harder and they lose their teeth and shit too. But I lost everything else, man, for real. It was just gone. I gave it away. And to start over with no house, no apartment. I got married last year. That was great. People came. We had like 130 people, man. Every table, every seat was taken. That's a true blessing sitting there. And this has led into us doing wedding business and wedding cakes and my life. I mean, it's as good as I allow it to be. And as grateful as I choose to be for it, that's how grateful I am. And a lot of days I wake up and I'm not grateful. One of my character flaws is I'm not grateful for shit. I forget quickly how bad it hurt to be out there, to be homeless, to live with mommy, to not have $1 to my name. Because now I can go buy my own gluten-free snacks and I got a couple bucks in my wallet and I sign the papers when I want to. That doesn't mean I actually got shit, And if I remember I don't got shit, then I've actually, got a ton to live for. It's paradoxical in the program. Give it away to get infinite. You got to lose it all to get it all. It hurts to feel good, at the end. So that's about all the story, man. I mean, that's for me personally.
You remember what your question is?
My question is
what the question was we asked you. What's your biggest regret?
My biggest regret, now that you've heard everything, is personally not jumping at the fact with my father when he was doing the things to get that clarification, like, hey man, you're fucking beating my ass a lot. And I always imagined it would be like, dude, I didn't know what I was doing, I was full of anger. He was an alcoholic of the kind where he would drink one weekend every 3 years and it was bad and he stayed away. I was so afraid of him, man. I never delved into his life. I never knew anything because the parents and the child dynamic was so long. I wish I had, figured that part out, gotten to ask some questions. It's even more sad is like a couple months ago, his brother died. I was assumed I could go to Europe, which I'm going to go this year. It was assumed that I could ask my uncle these questions about my dad, about his upbringing and his family and stuff like that, so I could maybe get some kind of more closure. I did get a little bit of closure from rehab, but I never got the full closure of what was going on in his mind and what did he think of me or stuff like that. I do have one other regret, and that would be, with the restaurant. Selling that restaurant quickly, choosing drugs over it. It wasn't like on a paper, choose drugs and alcohol or choose the restaurant. I still would have chosen drugs and alcohol. That powerful. I have the physical addiction. I get the obsession real bad. I can't stop thinking about it. I wake up and it's my first thought and my last thought. So That's where I was at on that. My regrets, not anything I've done per se. I've done a lot of regrettable things, but I don't actually regret them because that's my character building. But missed shots, missed chances. You hear this from old people about to die. They're like, shoot your shot before you die. And that's probably something that I should be doing as well, man. I think it's something we can all think about.
What about your question for the next guest? We're not gonna tell you who that is, but.
Question for the next guest is, recovery question? Anything. Your next question would be, if you could take one thing back, what would it be? I think that's kind of on theme with mine, and I'll kind of tie it to the next person. If you get one take back.
Okay, I gotta ask a question, sir.
Yes, sir.
Dallas Mavericks or Boston Celtics?
Dallas Mavs, man. Luka Doncic, baby. I got that Euro power. You know how that is, man. I got that Euro look, and they beat the Thunder.
Y'all heard it.
Yeah. Dallas Mavs. In seven. It's a series.
And we'll get to say we lost to the team that won the championship.
Yeah, that's kind of why we want that.
I have to say that I think the Boston Celtics are going to win it all.
Get out.
Yeah.
Shout out to Drew.
Yeah.
I actually like the Boston Celtics. I like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. I like Al Horford. I like their whole team. I do. I actually like the Boston Celtics. But I'm a Thunder fan. I'm actually a Spurs fan.
Sir, just Celtics and Lakers and shit. That's just so boring, man.
Yeah.
We see it all the time, man. We're like, these guys again. Go Thunder. Thunder
I agree with that. Peter, dude, thank you so much.
Thank you for having
I
me.
appreciate your friendship and everything else. I'm really grateful.
I appreciate you having me, man. It's been incredible. We're gonna eat cake pops afterwards. Get at me on
I'm grabbing one right now.
All right, thanks, guys.
Follow us on Facebook at Been Around the Block, and also follow us on YouTube at Been Around the Block. And
Instagram.
oh yeah, we got Instagram.
Instagram, baby.
Follow us on
Instagram.
Instagram. Also, you know, people to follow us on
Down the street.
no,
To the grocery
Spotify
store.
and Apple for podcasts.
We got Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
And we also have Amazon Music.
So all your streaming platforms, all that.
All of
Fucking
them.
follow us.
Destigmatized recovery.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Damn.
We hear
My
someone.
boss called fucking twice.
Yeah, so
He always tells me like what we're gonna do the next day.
Jenny said that.
It goes eat
I still have to do it.
I'm still recording.
Not recording.
I know.
Who's the?